All right, so 7th grade stellar scientists. You need your notebook. If you have it, give me a thumbs up. Woo. You need your textbook. If you have that, give me a thumbs up. Oh, sweet. You guys are well prepared. You also need your homework, which we'll be reviewing in class. If you have that, give me a thumbs up. Nice. All right, so this was assigned Friday. Remember, it was your graphic organizer. On the front side, you recorded and wrote down information about your 6 kingdoms. Then on the back side, you actually classified your favorite animal. So we'll review that in class today. All right, you get those supplies together and ready. And as you're doing that, I'll tell you why you're here. You're here to learn, of course, aren't you? So here's what we're going to do to learn. We're going to do an activity which I think you will like. We're going to work with some Jelly Belly jelly beans. And we're going to classify Jelly Belly jelly beans to help us better understand why we classify living things. Okay? So after we do the activity, which I think you'll enjoy, it is kind of tasty. After that, then we'll get into the 7 levels. We'll review those. And then we're going to add in that 8th level as well, classification of taxonomy. And finally, we'll review the 6 kingdoms that should be in your notes and was on your homework. And if we have enough time, we'll get into scientific naming. If we don't have enough time, we'll save that for tomorrow. Now, here's what we're doing in the future, just to kind of let you know and give you a heads up. On your blue sheet, you can pick that up at the end of class right over here if you want a physical copy. But of course, you can see that in Google Classroom as well. But it says today, we're going to continue with classification. Tomorrow, you have a quiz on taxonomy. Then Wednesday, you have homework. I'll give you that homework. You get to classify another living creature. And then on Thursday, we're going to get ready for something big. We're going to get ready for Chapter 2 test. Our second test in science. Yeah.
Wait, I thought we were having the one about the classification test that you just told us we had.
All right, your quiz, you will have a quiz on Tuesday, but your test over the entire chapter will be Monday of next week, okay? So what day will it be?
Monday next week.
The nice thing is, on Thursday, we're going to study and get ready for that test. Then on Friday, you have homework to also help you get ready for that test. And we take the test on Monday. All right. Yes, question? Oh, awesome. I tell you what, at the end of class, can you bring those to me?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on top of that. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and open your notebooks, please. We're going to make a brand new title for the day. Our brand new title will be called Jelly Belly Jelly Beans. Or you can just say Jelly Belly if you want to. All right, so you go ahead and get your notes ready for this. It's Jelly Belly Jelly Beans. We're going to use jelly beans to classify to help us learn about taxonomy. Let's recap and review a simple example of taxonomical classification or taxonomy. Now on the screen, you're going to see a picture of an example, an organism that has been classified, kind of like your homework. Remember, you had to classify an organism on the back side of your graphic organizer, right? Well, here's an example. So your homework might look something like this. Oh, it's coming. It's eventually going to get there. Oh, hey, that's our school logo. Okay. And here is what your homework might look like. Now, maybe you didn't draw on the fancy picture, but it should look something kind of like this, right? You have some kind of organism classified. All right, so let's take a peek at it. Now, you see here at the tip top, we've classified this orca whale into its kingdom. So what kingdom is it, guys? Everyone? Animalia. What phylum does it belong to? Chordata. Chordata means it has a spinal cord or backbone, right? What class is it? Mammalia. Mammals, not fish, right? Now then it's order, family, genus, species, and then all the way down to the bottom, species. Now if we were to give this organism its name would be genus plus species, wouldn't it? In fact, if I were to name this orca whale, you know the common name is orca whale, right? But if I were to name it scientifically, I would name it its genus first. So we have
I love your handwriting.
Orcinus. And then its second name would be the species, lowercase orca. Orcinus orca. So that is an Orcinus orca. So notice it's italicized. First word is capitalized, right? Second word is not. All right, how many of you guys, show me thumbs up, you did that or something like that on the back of your homework? Oh, sweet. I love it. All right, you will be turning that homework at the end of class. But before we do that, let's classify some jelly beans.
Okay.
All right. So, classifying jelly beans. You should have your title at the top of the page. What we're going to do is we are going to classify 6 Jelly Belly jelly beans. They're delicious. By the way, I had to travel to 3 different Walmarts to get these. A lot of Walmart stores don't carry Jelly Belly jelly beans anymore.
That's weird.
So on the 3rd trip, I finally found Jelly Belly jelly beans. Now then, you're going to get 6. Ooh. Now you are eventually going to get to taste test them if you do well, which I suspect everyone will do well, right, Jackson?
Yes.
Absolutely, right?
100%.
Now, but before we taste test them, we're going to classify them to begin with. So you're going to get your 6 jelly beans here in just a moment. What you do is you write down their observations. So observe your jelly bean. Look at it. See what color it is. Sniff it, smell it, feel it. Don't taste it yet though, okay? That's later. So write down your observations about all 6 jelly beans. And then make a prediction. What flavor do you think you have? Okay, you'll do this with all 6 jelly beans. And then notice there's a final section which is key. I'm going to give you a really cool classification key. The scientific term is dichotomous key. Can you say dichotomous key?
Dichotomous key.
Now, this is a Jelly Belly jelly bean dichotomous key. And basically, you can use this key to help you classify all the jelly beans in a wonderful Jelly Belly bag. Using color alone, you can classify to figure out what kind of jelly bean you have. And then finally, the last thing we do is taste test it to see if this is right. That's the favorite part, isn't it? Turn the video back on. At this point, you have observed your bean, you've predicted your bean, so you think you might know what flavor you're looking at. But what we're going to do is get the help of a dichotomous key. Now then, in science, a dichotomous key helps us to classify living things. Now, you can use a dichotomous key in classifying birds and classifying mammals, bugs, a ton of things. But we're going to use this dichotomous key here. It looks like this. And you use it to help you classify the bean that you have in hand. So how many beans do you have?
6.
So you're going to classify all 6 like this. Somebody's going to randomly pick a bean from the bag, and I'll kind of walk you through. So here is an example. For those of you joining us at home, here's my bean. Now then I have a purple bean with kind of bluish spots. So what I'm going to do is classify this bean using the dichotomous key. Now for those of you at home, you can find the dichotomous key posted along with the video. So let's take a peek at our dichotomous key. Now then, you start up here with number 1. It says the bean is 1A, 1B, 1C, or 1D. You have to pick out the true description.
Okay.
So you're going to help me classify this bean. All right, 1A, is my bean yellow, orange, red, or pink?
No.
No. 1B, is my bean blue, purple, or green?
Yes.
Ooh, yes. So since it's purple, it says go to line 16. So now I travel to line 16, which is on this side of the page. And I ask, is it blue or purple, or is it green? Which one is it, guys?
Purple.
It's blue or purple. So if it's blue or purple, I now go to line 17. Line 17, A or B. Is it purple or is it blue?
Purple.
It's purple. So now I go to line 18. 18A, B, or C. Is it lavender? Is it dark purple, or is it purple with spots?
Purple with spots.
Purple with spots. It should be plum.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is in my notebooks, I'm going to write down plum. Do not taste test them quite yet.
I'm not going to try that.
All right, so I'm going to bring around your dichotomous key. So everyone go ahead and classify your bean
I'm not trying that one. That one's
using your dichotomous.
Cherry, strawberry, and grapevine.
All right, 7th grade scientists. Let's have voices off in 3, voices off in 2, and everyone quiet. All right, now then, turn around, please. Let's focus up here for just a moment. You had an opportunity to guess, not using the classification key, but then you got the opportunity to use the classification key, which should have been helpful to you, shouldn't it? The same is true in science. We use classification keys to help us identify common traits and identify information about living things specifically. So, now it's the ultimate taste test.
Yes.
You want to know if your prediction was right or wrong, don't you? So what we're going to do is quietly go ahead and begin savoring your beans. Eat them. You can eat them slowly if you would like. And as you carefully and slowly eat your beans, then let's transition and go back to our notes from Thursday. Okay? So quietly enjoy your beans as we go to our notes from Thursday. All right. So everyone open up your notes from Thursday. On Thursday, we learned about the 7 classification systems of taxonomy. What we're going to do is review that as you savor those beans and enjoy them. Now, then, as you know, we looked at 7 classifications of taxonomy. So we looked at kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, didn't we? You were even given this little interesting way to help you remember the order. Now, I can promise you, on your upcoming test on Monday, you will have to know these and you will have to put them in proper order. You need to know that kingdom is the largest. Phylum is a little bit smaller. Class is smaller than that, all the way down to species. But if you remember, I told you that there are not only 7, like your textbooks say, but now scientists have added an 8th. An 8th level of classification. Now who can remember? Is this level of classification, is it bigger than kingdom or is it smaller than species? Huh. Abby? Bigger than kingdom, because you can't get smaller than species, can you? So it is larger than kingdom. Now, you need to know that domain is the largest way to classify any living organism. But you know what? Let's spend some time here. What are the domains? There are 2 big ones, okay? 2 big domains. Yes, sir.
Kind of.
Oh, do you know them? Really?
Eukaryotic and prokaryotic.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You know your stuff. You are exactly right. So eukaryotic and prokaryotic. And it all has to do with the types of cells the living things are made out of. Okay? So let's do this. In your notebooks, let's add the 2 domains. Let's add that into Thursday's notes. So we're going right back to Thursday's notes and adding this in. So we have 2 types of cells on the planet. We have prokaryotic cells, seen here. Now then, in prokaryotic cells, they have the cell structure. Of course, they're made of atoms. But inside the cell is all this gobbledygook. It's DNA, which is super important, but it's kind of all over the place. A prokaryotic cell is a very simple cell. It doesn't have near as many parts and pieces. Now, on the other hand, some organisms are not made of prokaryotic cells. They're made of eukaryotic cells. In fact, you are made of eukaryotic cells. Can you remember that you are made of eukaryotic cells? How many of you can do that for me? Oh, good, good. So you are made of eukaryotic cells. That means that your cells have a lot more parts and pieces. They're not simple cells like these. In fact, bacteria are the only ones that are simple cells. And you can see them named here. Bacteria. We have archaebacteria and eubacteria. But eukaryotic cells are more complicated, they're more complex, they have more parts and pieces. You can see here that protists are made of eukaryotic cells. So are fungi. That's going to be a fun unit, guys. Yes, sir. I love it. I can't pass that joke up. Also, animals. Animals are made of eukaryotic cells. Technically, you're made of what scientists would call animal cells. So, eukaryotic cells. And plants. Plants are also made of eukaryotic cells. All right, so let's add this to our notes. Here's what you need to know. For your test coming up, you need to know the two big domains. You need to know that prokaryotic cells, what kind?
Prokaryotic.
Oh, good. You guys are paying attention. Prokaryotic cells are unicellular organisms that are made up of more simple cells. And bacteria would be our perfect example. Bacteria are unicellular, and they're made of simple cells. Now then, what kind of cells did I say you are made out of?
Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cell is different. What you need to know for an upcoming test on Monday is that eukaryotic cells are found in organisms, usually multicellular organisms, although some protists are just single celled. But they have more complicated cells with more parts and pieces. Okay? So let's all go ahead and add in the two domains. Of these two domains, we said there are 6 kingdoms, right? And in your homework, you were to break those kingdoms down, and in fact, you were to fill out a graphic organizer. So let's get that out, please.
Can we close our notes?
Just leave your notes open as well. We'll have a little bit more to add, but not much.
Mr. Rickard?
Yes, sir?
I'm especially enjoying your bean boozled letters that I just ate.
What?
Oh, yeah.
No, there's no bamboo.
I got
there's
no,
no-
I got some.
I got grass.
They weren't good. They're so bad.
No, there are no bamboozled beans in there.
There are
No.
chocolate pudding.
These are
I'm like 97% sure I got grass. I got chocolate pudding.
These are the 49 regular flavors. For those of you at home, you can see the 49 regular flavors. No bamboozled beans in here.
Show us the back. Turn around.
And the back includes all the
I'm
various.
gonna watch that video and
Beans.
see if there's anything.
bad things on there.
Yep.
It's juicy. What if you
So they're all edible, enjoyable beans.
I'm 97% sure I had grass.
All right, how many of you guys enjoy classifying with beans?
No.
All right, can you see how classifying with beans is like classifying with taxonomy though?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's breaking down into classification groups, isn't it? All right, so on your homework, you had a graphic organizer. And in that graphic organizer, you had to take these 6 kingdoms, and you had to give information about them, didn't you? So I want to see, what did you discover? What did you discover about the 6 kingdoms? Now, we're going to honestly spend a lot of time on all these kingdoms this year. In fact, this fills up a lot of our textbook. So you're getting introduced to them today, but we're going to spend a lot of time on these. So let's start with the simple ones. Eubacteria and archaebacteria. They both have something in common. They're both prokaryotic cells. They're both simple cells. Now then, archaebacteria. Can someone tell me some information you found and discovered about archaebacteria? Jackson?
They lack a true nuclei.
Ah, so that means they're prokaryotic. They lack a true nucleus. Okay. What else did you discover about them? Davis?
They have some properties that allow them to live in more harsh conditions than bacteria.
Yes. They live in very harsh conditions. Like archaebacteria can live in guts.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, that's a harsh environment down there. They can live there. Some of them can live in like sewage lines and hot springs. They live in really harsh conditions, okay? Now you were given some examples in the textbook. You probably can't remember any of the names, which is okay. They usually have really long bacterial names. So let's switch gears. Let's look at eubacteria. Who can tell me something about eubacteria that you learned from your homework? Yes, Ella?
They are usually unicellular or colon.
Okay. So they are unicellular as well, aren't they? So archaea and eubacteria are both unicellular, made of one cell. Are they prokaryotic or eukaryotic? Everyone. Prokaryotic, aren't they? Now then, you probably identified some unique things about them. You probably identified some examples. What else did you identify about them? Andrew?
Most need microscopes to be seen.
Absolutely. We're going to need a microscope to see them and archaea bacteria, aren't we? Very true. All right, so let's switch gears. Those two are the prokaryotes. But the protists, what did you discover about protists? Ooh, very interesting. Yes, Tyler?
So they don't produce new tissues, and also back to the bacteria. One of the examples I found was streptococcus or something like that.
Strep throat.
I know. I'm like, is that the bacteria that causes strep throat?
Yep, that's strep throat right there.
Ugh.
Yep. So protists, great observation there, great detail. Protists, are they unicellular or multicellular? They can be both. You can have plant-like protists that do photosynthesis. You can also have animal-like protists that eat other things. Ugh. Now then, fungi. Fungi are fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm going to speed things up because we're down to about 5 minutes, okay? Fungi live on dead stuff. Now you can get mushrooms, you can get yeast, but they all eat dead stuff. The cool thing is you probably have a fungus in your refrigerator. We eat them. If you eat bread, you're eating yeast. Yeast is a fungi. And then of course plants, the plant kingdom, that's familiar to us. And of course the most common animal kingdom, right? Now then let me show you one last thing here. Here is Leo the lion. I've classified Leo the lion, just like you should have classified on your homework. Now notice, I start at the top. I start with the biggest classification. I start with his domain. Is Leo the lion, is he eukaryotic or prokaryotic?
Eukaryotic.
He's eukaryotic, just like you. He has more complicated cells. Check out this number. Hold on, don't pack up quite yet. We still have time. Notice there are 8.7, about 8.7 million eukaryotic organisms on the planet. That's a lot. Well, then we go down and classify them in the animal kingdom. Look at that number. Notice how much fewer organisms are animals. Only about 1.5 million compared to almost 9 million. Wow. So you can see it's literally getting smaller, isn't it? Its phylum is Chordata, which means it has a spinal cord or backbone, right? Notice our number now gets down to 40,000 species. And at each level we get fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer species until we get down to just Leo the lion at the bottom. Un momento, por favor. Now, let's do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give Leo the lion his scientific name. Now you know a lion is the common name.
I thought it was Leo this time.
But this lion has a scientific name, which you should have classified on your own as well, with whichever organism you picked out. Now, Leo the lion, his scientific name starts with his genus. So notice, it's Panthera, and it is capitalized, isn't it? His next name would be Leo. And sorry, it's kind of covered up there. But Leo is not capitalized. So the scientific name of our lion is Panthera leo.
Oh no, we're having English class. Is that just
Notice this mainly comes from Latin. All the scientific names have Latin roots, or many of them do. So a lot of Latin going on in science. Now, how many of you guys also did this with your organism?
Ooh.
I did. Awesome. Well, I tell you what, on our way out the door, here's what you're going to do. You're going to give me your ticket out the door, which will be your homework from Friday. Give me your classification, along with your graphic organizer on the front side, okay? That's your ticket out the door. And by the way, you don't have any homework tonight. I'm sorry.